All right, next we're going to get into writing formulas. So now we are moving to the right-hand side of your notes packet. So writing formulas for ionic compounds. First, you're going to write the symbol for the cation, and then you're going to write the symbol for the anion. So the cation is always listed first in the name and the formula. Then this is where we add subscripts to show how many of each ion is needed to make the charge equal to 0. So again, using your periodic table of ions, if you look at the charges, sodium has a +1 charge. Bromide has a -1 charge. So because these two are already equal and opposite, we only need one sodium and one bromide. So the formula would be NaBr. The next example, lithium is +1. Oxide is -2. So these are not equal and opposite. Lithium is +1, oxide is -2. We know that we need more than one lithium. So in order to make the charges equal to 0, we would need 2 lithiums for every 1 oxygen. So my formula would be Li2O. The next example, if you look, aluminum on the periodic table is +3. Sulfide is -2. So 3 and 2 both multiply into 6. So 6 is our the goal for your positive and negative charges. So in order to end up with +6, we would need 2 aluminums, and we would need 3 sulfides, because if we had -2, -2, -2, it would equal out to -6. If we have multiple charges for our cation, when you're writing formulas, the cation symbol is always listed first. And remember, the charge of the cation will be shown as a Roman numeral. Then the anion is listed second. And then you would add subscripts to balance your positive and negative charges. So if we had copper 2 chloride, remember copper 2, that 2 means that copper is +2. Chloride is -1. So if I have +2 and -1, I know that I need more chlorides. So for every 1 copper, I would need 2 chlorides, so my formula would be CuCl2. Iron 3 oxide, that 3 as a Roman numeral means that iron is +3. Oxide would be -2. So again, 3 and 2 both multiply into 6. So in order for us to get a total of 6, we would need 2 iron atoms and 3 oxide ions. All right, last but not least, cobalt 2 would be +2. Nitrate, so nitrate is a polyatomic ion, so we'd have to look up here. Nitrate has a -1 charge. So since cobalt is +2, nitrate is -1, we need 2 nitrates. So what you do is, if you have more than one polyatomic ion, because NO3 is a group of atoms and NO3 cannot change, you have to use parentheses around the formula to show that you need 2 of that entire thing. So just like in math, that 2 would get distributed to show that you have 2 of that, 2 NO3s. So you have NO3 and NO3. You have 2 of that entire ion. All right, and finally, writing formulas with polyatomic ions. So again, cation is listed first, anion is listed second. Again, you will use the parentheses if you need more than one polyatomic to make the charge equal to 0. So sodium is +1. Chlorate, so most of the polyatomic ions, just so you can recognize the name, will end in ate or ite, so ATE or ITE. So when you see the ending of ate or ite, they will be in this box up top. So chlorate is -1. So +1, -1, the charges are equal. So our formula would be Na for sodium, and then chlorate is ClO3, and that just comes straight from that polyatomic ion chart. All right, the next example, copper 2. That 2 means that copper has a +2 charge. Nitrite, so ITE, again, we know is a polyatomic ion. So if we look on here, we can find nitrite is -1. So due to the charges, we know that we need a total of 2 nitrites. So since we need more than one polyatomic, we have to use parentheses. So our formula would be Cu parentheses NO2 for nitrite, and then 2 after it. The last one is ammonium sulfate. So ammonium is your only positive polyatomic ion. So if you look in the center, ammonium is +1, sulfate is -2. Sulfate is also a polyatomic ion. So if we have +1, -2, we are going to need 2 ammoniums. So because ammonium is a polyatomic ion and because we need more, because we have more than one polyatomic ion, we're going to use parentheses in the formula. That 2 means you have 2 of that entire ammonium group, and then SO4 represents sulfate.